My name is Kelvan, and I have what most species in the galaxy would consider a dream job. Senior Xenobiology Instructor at the Galactic Defense Academy. Sounds impressive, right? Oh, it is impressive. On paper. In reality, I spend my days trying to convince overconfident cadets that yes, that tiny creature will kill you, and no, your species' natural defenses will not save you. 20 cycles. I have been doing this, 20 cycles of watching fresh-faced recruits walk into my laboratory, thinking they are ready for anything the universe can throw at them. 20 cycles of proving them wrong within the first hour. It is, I must admit, the only part of this job that still brings me joy. That moment when their confidence cracks, when they realize the galaxy is far more dangerous than their homeworld ever prepared them for. That is when the real learning begins. But this cycle was different. This cycle I got a human. Let me set the scene for you, because context is everything. It is the first day of advanced xenobiology training, level 3. The laboratory is pristine as always, containment fields humming at optimal frequency, specimen chambers locked down tight, emergency medical station fully stocked. I have 43 cadets standing in neat rows before me, representing 17 different species from across the Galactic Council. There is Brix, a Chitron, from the outer colonies, built like a walking tank, that one. His people have exoskeletons that can deflect plasma rounds, natural armor plating, reinforced joints, mandibles that can crush titanium alloy. He stands at attention in the front row, absolutely certain nothing in my laboratory could possibly threaten him. 3 rows back, I spot Lyra and Gorn, both Quarons from the Delphic cluster. They are gelatinous beings, semi-transparent, looking like someone filled a roughly humanoid mold with luminescent jelly. Their species can regenerate from almost any injury. Lost a limb? No problem. Sliced in half. Inconvenient, but survivable. They bob slightly as they stand, their internal organs visible through their translucent bodies, utterly relaxed because death is more of a suggestion than a certainty for their kind. And over on the left side, taking up more space than strictly necessary, are 3 Gravians, rock-skinned behemoths from a high-gravity world. Each one stands nearly 3 meters tall, their bodies covered in mineral deposits that make them look like walking mountain ranges. Their homeworld tried to kill them every single day through crushing gravity and geological instability, so they evolved to be nearly indestructible. I have seen a Gravian walk through a building collapse and complain only about the dust. These are my students. Battle-tested species. Evolutionary success stories. Each one of them has survived environments that would flatten most other life forms. And then there is Jack Torres, sitting in the back row, looking like he would rather be literally anywhere else. The human, the only human in a class of 43. He is not paying attention to my opening remarks. He is not reviewing his datapad. He is not even trying to look interested. No, Jack Torres is slouched in his chair, jaw working slowly, rhythmically, chewing something rubbery that he occasionally blows into a small pink bubble before sucking it back into his mouth with a soft pop. Gum. I later learned it is called gum. A recreational mouth exercise, because of course humans have those. I will be honest with you. My first thought upon seeing Jack Torres was not impressed admiration. Humans had only joined the Galactic Council 2 cycles ago. 2 cycles. Some of my equipment is older than humanity's membership in galactic civilization, and here sits their representative, looking like a strong breeze might snap him in half. Let me paint you a picture. Humans have no natural armor. None. Their skin is thin, easily punctured, laughably vulnerable. No exoskeleton. No mineral plating. No regenerative capabilities worth mentioning. They have no venom, no claws, no natural weapons whatsoever, unless you count those blunt little teeth that could not pierce synthetic leather if their lives depended on it. They come from a standard gravity world with a breathable atmosphere and moderate temperatures. Comfortable. Safe. Boring. Jack Torres looks exactly like what I expected from such a species. Average height by galactic standards, maybe 1.7 meters. Lean build. Not particularly muscular. Brown hair that flops across his forehead because apparently humans cannot be bothered to maintain proper grooming standards. Dark eyes that scan my laboratory with what I initially mistake for nervous assessment but later realize is just casual boredom. He wears the standard academy uniform, which on him looks about 2 sizes too large. like he is a child playing dress-up in adult clothing. And that gum. That infernal gum. Pop, chew, pop, chew. Brix notices him too. The Chitron turns his massive head, mandibles clicking in what I recognize as amusement. He nudges his neighbor, a Zetherian with iridescent scales, and they both stare at Jack Torres, whispering, probably wondering what a human is doing in an advanced xenobiology course, probably wondering if Command made some kind of administrative error. I am wondering the same thing, but orders are orders. Command says the human stays, so the human stays. Fine. I have dealt with overconfident cadets before. I have dealt with species who thought they were invincible. I have watched them all learn humility when faced with the galaxy's true terrors. Jack Torres will be no different. In fact, given his species' apparent fragility, this lesson might come even faster than usual. I clear my throat, activating my voice amplifier. Time to begin. Time to show these recruits what real danger looks like. Time to wipe that bored expression off the human's face. Oh, Kelvan, you magnificent fool. If only you knew what was coming. If only you knew. Attention, cadets. My voice echoes through the laboratory, and the chatter dies immediately. Well, almost immediately. I can still hear the faint pop of that wretched gum from the back row. I choose to ignore it. For now, I gesture dramatically toward the first containment chamber, letting the moment build. This is theater, you understand. Pedagogy through performance. The lights in the laboratory dim automatically, and a single spotlight illuminates the reinforced glass chamber before us. Inside, skittering across a carefully maintained habitat of volcanic rock and sulfur deposits, is my opening act. The Vorten acid beetle. What you are looking at, I announce, pacing slowly in front of the chamber, is one of the most dangerous invertebrates in the known galaxy. Native to the lava fields of Vortan Prime, this creature has evolved a defense mechanism so potent, so devastatingly effective, that its homeworld remains largely uncolonized despite abundant mineral resources. The beetle is not particularly large, maybe 15 centimeters long, with a carapace that gleams like polished obsidian. Its 6 legs move with mechanical precision, and its antennae twitch as it senses our presence through the glass. Beautiful, really, in the way that a loaded plasma rifle is beautiful. Brix leans forward, his exoskeleton plates shifting with a soft clicking sound. Lyra and Gorn have stopped their bobbing, focusing their attention on the specimen. Even the Gravians look interested, their rocky features somehow conveying curiosity. This is good. This is what I want. Fear breeds respect, and respect breeds caution, and caution keeps you alive. The Vorten acid beetle, I continue, pulling up a holographic display beside the chamber, possesses specialized glands that produce a highly corrosive chemical compound. When threatened, it can spray this acid up to 3 meters with remarkable accuracy. I pause, letting that sink in. Standard combat armor, the kind you will wear in the field, will be compromised in 8 seconds. 8 seconds. Cadets. By 12 seconds, the acid will have eaten through to flesh. By 15 seconds, you will be experiencing organ failure. The hologram shows a simulation. A figure in combat armor. The spray. The sizzling. The collapse. I have shown this simulation 237 times, and it never gets old. Gasps ripple through the classroom. Datapads come out. Styluses scratch frantically. Notes are taken. Exactly as planned. In your field assignments, I say, warming to my subject, you may encounter dozens of species with similar capabilities. Acid, venom, neurotoxins, hemotoxins, cytotoxins. The galaxy is absolutely filled with creatures that want to dissolve you, poison you, or otherwise ruin your day. This is why we study. This is why we train. This is why you will treat every unknown organism as if it personally wants you dead, because statistically speaking it probably does. More frantic note-taking. Brix is recording the entire lecture on his visor. One of the Zetherian cadets in the middle row has gone slightly pale, her scales losing some of their luster. Perfect. And then from the back row a hand goes up. Not urgently. Not frantically. Just up. Casual. Like someone asking directions to the nearest refresher station. Jack Torres. Of course. I feel my eye ridges twitch. Yes, Cadet Torres? Yeah. Quick question. He is still chewing that gum. Still slouched in his chair like he is watching entertainment vids instead of attending a lecture on lethal organisms. So this beetle thing. The acid spray, is it like a fire ant on steroids? Because that is kind of what it sounds like. Silence. Complete silence. Every head in the laboratory turns to stare at him. I blink once, twice. I am sorry, a fire what? Fire ant. Jack shrugs, like this should be obvious. Little insects back on Earth. Red, aggressive, about this big. He holds up his fingers, indicating something tiny. They bite you. Inject formic acid. Hurts like hell, leaves welts. Real annoying at barbecues. I stare at him. The other cadets stare at him. Even the Vortan acid beetle seems to have paused its skittering to stare at him. Cadet Taurus, I say slowly, carefully. Are you comparing a Vortan acid beetle, a creature whose defensive spray can melt through military-grade armor, to a minor pest from your homeworld? I mean, yeah? He blows another bubble. Sen. Pop. We've got millions of them. They build these mounds in your yard. You step on one by accident. Boom, 50 of them are on your leg pumping acid into you. My cousin once sat on a mound at a family cookout. Had to go to the hospital. Well, the emergency clinic. Well, actually, we just gave him some ice and antihistamines. He was fine by dinner. My teaching methodology does not include sections on dealing with cadets who compare galactic class threats to backyard nuisances. I must admit, at a loss. Cadet Torres, I say very calmly, very professionally, I assure you that this creature is significantly more dangerous than your barbecue ants. Oh, for sure. For sure. He nods agreeably. I am just saying the concept is not, new. We have got the idea back home. Aggressive bugs with acid. Totally tracking. I turn away from him. Back to my presentation. This is fine. This is just human bravado. Every species has that one cadet who thinks they have seen everything. Jack Torres will learn. They always learn. I dismiss his comment with a wave of my hand and move toward the next containment chamber. But I can still hear that gum popping. And somehow it sounds almost smug. I am a professional. I have trained thousands of cadets. I will not let one dismissive human ruin my carefully crafted curriculum. The next specimen will command the appropriate level of respect and terror. It always does. Moving on. I announce, perhaps a bit more sharply than intended. I activate the second containment chamber, and the reinforced glass panels slide apart to reveal the habitat within. This one is different. Darker. The lighting is dim, filtered through artificial webbing that spans the entire enclosure. And there, suspended in the center of its creation, waiting with the patience of a predator that has never known failure, hangs the Arachnus mortalis, the death spider of Kepler 9. Even I feel a slight chill looking at it. And I have been working with this specimen for 6 cycles. It is massive, easily the size of a Gravian's head, with 8 legs covered in barbed hairs that glisten with a faint oily sheen. Its body is midnight black, except for the crimson hourglass marking on its abdomen that serves as nature's warning label. 8 eyes catch the light, reflecting it back like polished obsidian beads. It does not move. It does not need to. Everything about its stillness screams danger. The Arachnus mortalis. I begin, and I am pleased to hear my voice has regained its authoritative tone, is perhaps the most efficient killer in my entire collection. While the Vortan acid beetle relies on external chemical burns, the Arachnus employs a far more insidious method. I pull up another hologram. This one shows the spider's fangs in cross-section, the venom sacs pulsing with deadly payload, the hollow delivery system that injects doom directly into the bloodstream. A single bite delivers a neurotoxin so potent that paralysis is instantaneous, not gradual, not progressive, instantaneous. I snap my fingers for emphasis. Several cadets jump. Your nervous system simply stops. No pain, no warning. One moment you are conscious and mobile, the next you are frozen, completely aware but utterly helpless as your respiratory system shuts down. Lyra, one of the Quarons, makes a gurgling sound that I recognize as distress. The fatality rate, I continue, is 100%, not 99.9%, 100%. In 30 cycles of documented encounters, there has never been a survivor, not one. I let that hang in the air. 3 drops of this venom can kill a fully grown Gravian. 3 drops. The Gravian cadets shift uncomfortably, their rocky faces somehow managing to look concerned. When you can make a Gravian nervous, you know you have their attention. I activate the hologram sequence, medical imagery. Previous victims: a Zetherian explorer, frozen mid-scream; a Dravik soldier, collapsed in the field; a Hytheran researcher, preserved in the moment of realization. Each image is visceral, immediate, terrifying. This is not theoretical danger. This is documented death. The venom attacks the synaptic pathways. I explain, gesturing to the neural diagrams floating beside the victims. It blocks the transmission of electrical signals from brain to body. You can still think, you can still feel, but you cannot move, cannot breathe, cannot cry for help. You simply cease. Dead silence in the laboratory. Even the usual whispers have stopped. Datapads are clutched tightly. Sumtrix mandibles have gone completely still. This is the proper response. This is respect for the galaxy's dangers. And then from the back row I hear it. Quote, my eye ridges do not just twitch this time. They spasm. Jack Torres is leaning back in his chair looking at the Arachnus mortalis like someone might look at a mildly interesting houseplant. We have got brown recluses back on Earth. Little guys, smaller than that thing. Their venom is necrotic though. Does not just paralyze you, it rots your flesh off. Like literally dissolves the tissue. You get bit, and over the next few days you have just got this spreading wound that gets bigger and deeper, sometimes down to the bone. Pretty nasty. I open my mouth, close it, open it again. No words come out. Oh, and funnel webs. Jack continues, apparently on a roll now. Australian funnel web spiders. Aggressive little nightmares. They rear up when threatened, fangs out, and their venom is specifically effective on primates, which, you know, includes us. Causes massive neurotransmitter release, muscle spasms, respiratory failure if untreated. But here is the thing. He leans forward conspiratorially. And I hate that I am leaning in to hear him. People survive them now. We have got anti-venom. Still hurt like absolute hell though. My buddy's dad got bit while gardening. Said it was like being electrocuted and having a heart attack at the same time. Several of the other cadets have turned to stare at Jack. Here. Then at me. Then at the Arachnus mortalis, then back at Jack. Cadet Torres, I say, and my voice sounds strained even to my own ears, are you telling me that your planet, your single planet, has multiple species of spiders with lethal venom? Oh yeah, tons. He nods enthusiastically. Brown recluses, black widows, funnel webs, Brazilian wandering spiders. Those things are aggressive too. They do not build webs, they just hunt. Six-eyed sand spiders, super venomous but reclusive, thankfully. Redbacks in Australia. Mouse spiders. I mean, most of them do not want to bite you, but if you corner them or accidentally grab one, yeah, bad times. Brick slowly turns his entire body to face Jack. Your planet has multiple lethal arachnids, and you just live with them. I mean, they were there first, technically, Jack says with a shrug. You just check your shoes before putting them on. Shake out your towels. Do not stick your hands in dark places. Common sense stuff. A Zetherian cadet raises a shaking hand, and then your people just accept this. What are we gonna do? Kill every spider on Earth? Jack laughs. That would screw up the whole ecosystem. Plus most of them eat mosquitoes and other pests, so they are actually pretty helpful. You just learn to coexist. Whispers spread through the classroom now. Not excited note-taking whispers, nervous whispers, concerned whispers. I catch fragments of conversations. Earth has multiple lethal species. They coexist with them? Remind me to never accept an assignment to that sector. This is not how this demonstration is supposed to go. This is not the lesson plan. I am losing control of my classroom to a human with gum and anecdotes about backyard death spiders. Cadet Torres, I say firmly. I appreciate your enthusiasm, but I assure you that the Arachnus mortalis is in an entirely different category of danger than your Earth spiders. Oh, totally. Totally. Jack agrees immediately. Way bigger. More impressive. Very scary looking. 10 out of 10 would not want to get bit. He sounds genuine. He looks sincere. But that gum is still popping, and something in his tone suggests he is humoring me. I am a senior Xenobiology instructor at the Galactic Defense Academy. I have 2 advanced degrees and 20 cycles of field experience. I will not be humored by a human cadet who thinks garden spiders are comparable to the galaxy's apex predators. Time to bring out the real nightmare fuel. Time to shut Jack Torres up once and for all. Enough. Enough of this nonsense. I have been patient. I have been professional. I have tolerated the gum chewing. The casual dismissals, the ridiculous comparisons to Earth creatures that probably do not even exist in the forms he describes. But no more. Jack Torres wants to be impressed. Fine. I will impress him. I will terrify him. I will make him understand exactly how naive and foolish he has been. I walked to the back of the laboratory, past all the standard specimens, past the teaching demonstrations, all the way to the reinforced vault door that even my fellow instructors give a wide berth. My hand hovers over the biometric scanner for just a moment. This is not part of the standard curriculum. This is the specimen we bring out maybe twice a cycle, and only for the most advanced students, only when we need to drive home the absolute reality of galactic danger. The scanner reads my biosignature. Locks disengage with heavy mechanical clunks. The vault door swings open with a hiss of pressurized air, revealing the chamber beyond. The temperature in the laboratory drops immediately. Not because of environmental controls, because of the sudden collective intake of breath from 43 cadets who have just realized something very serious is about to happen. Cadets, I announce, and my voice carries the full weight of my authority now. What I am about to show you is classified as a Theta class specimen. Theta class. For those of you who slept through orientation, I glance meaningfully toward the back row. That is the highest danger classification in the Galactic Threat Assessment System. There are only 7 Theta-class organisms in captivity across all Council space. I have one of them. I activate the chamber's internal lights, and there, behind triple-layered reinforced polymer glass that could withstand a direct plasma strike, coiled in the center of a carefully climate-controlled habitat, is the specimen that has given me nightmares for the past 8 cycles. The Nightmare Serpent of Obsidian Deep. Even through the containment barriers, it is magnificent, terrifying, yes. Deadly. Absolutely. But magnificent. It is roughly 2 meters long, its body as thick as my forearm, covered in scales that shimmer between deep purple and absolute black depending on the angle of the light. Patterns ripple across its surface like oil on water, hypnotic, mesmerizing. Its head is triangular flat, with heat-sensing pits along its snout that can detect body temperature from 20 meters away. And its eyes, twin golden slits that seem to look directly through the glass, directly through your soul, assessing you as prey. As if sensing our attention, the serpent raises its head slightly and opens its mouth. The fangs unfold, long, curved, hollow, built for one purpose: delivery. And then it hisses, low, resonant, the sound of death-given voice. Even through the containment glass, even through the multiple layers of protection, that hiss raises every survival instinct evolution gave you and tells them all to run. Several cadets step backward involuntarily. One of the Quarons makes that gurgling sound again, more pronounced this time. Brix's exoskeleton plates rattle together, a stress response I have only seen twice before in Chitrons. Good, this is the appropriate response. The Nightmare Serpent, I begin, and I realize my own voice has dropped to almost a whisper. Because something about this creature demands reverence, possesses what xenobiologists consider to be the most lethal venom in known space, not the most painful, not the most dramatic, the most lethal. I pull up the holographic data, and the molecular structure of the venom rotates slowly in the air beside the chamber. It looks almost beautiful, like a work of art, until you understand what each component does. This venom is not a neurotoxin. It is not a hemotoxin. It is not a cytotoxin. It is all three, simultaneously, in perfect synergy. I gesture to the different molecular chains. The neurotoxic component attacks your nervous system. The hemotoxic component destroys your blood cells and prevents clotting. The cytotoxic component breaks down tissue at the cellular level. They work together, amplifying each other's effects, creating a cascade failure that shuts down every major system in your body. The hologram shifts to show a time-lapse simulation. A victim. Bitten. The spread of venom through the bloodstream. Marked in red. 90 seconds. That is all it takes. 90 seconds from bite to total organ failure. 1 drop, I say, holding up a single finger. And you have 90 seconds before your heart stops. Not 90 minutes. Not 9 minutes. 90 seconds. There is no antivenom. There is no treatment. There is no survival. If this creature bites you, you are already dead. You just have not finished dying yet. The laboratory is absolutely silent. No data pads, no note-taking, no whispers, just the faint hum of containment fields and the barely audible breathing of terrified students. Even I admit, am nervous when I work with this specimen. I have handled thousands of dangerous organisms in my career. This is the only one that makes me check my glove seals 3 times before opening the internal feeding chamber. This is the only one that makes me run full decontamination protocols even when I have had no direct contact. This is the only specimen in my laboratory that could kill me faster than I could trigger the emergency medical response. I turn back to face my students, letting the weight of that confession sink in, letting them see that fear is not weakness, fear is intelligence, fear is intelligence, fear keeps you alive. This, I say quietly, is what real danger looks like. This is why we study, this is why we train, this is why we do not compare galactic apex predators to common pests. Because the galaxy will kill you, cadets, quickly, efficiently, without mercy or warning, and overconfidence will put you in the ground faster than any venom. My eyes sweep across the classroom, meeting each cadet's gaze, respect, fear, understanding, finally. And then I look at Jack Torres. For the first time since the lecture began, he is not slouched. He has actually leaned forward, elbows on his knees, gum temporarily forgotten. His eyes are focused on the Nightmare Serpent with what appears to be genuine interest. Progress. Finally. Progress. Questions? I ask, though it is more formality than actual invitation. Jack's hand goes up. Of course it does. Yeah. How big did you say that was? He squints at the serpent. 2 meters, maybe 2.5 with the tail extended. 2.3 meters. I confirm warily. Why? Huh. Jack tilts his head, studying the creature. That is actually smaller than a king cobra. We have got those on Earth. They get up to 5.5 meters, 18 feet, in old measurements. Really aggressive too, especially during breeding season. Their venom is not as complex as that thing's. He nods toward the Nightmare Serpent. But it is plenty neurotoxic. Shuts down your breathing, causes paralysis. They can deliver enough venom in 1 bite to kill an elephant, or 20 humans. Whichever comes first. I stare at him. The other cadets stare at him. The Nightmare Serpent, I swear, stares at him. King, I say slowly. Cobra. Yeah, King Cobra. Ophiophagus Hannah, if you want the scientific name. Snake-eating snake. Basically. They are called king because they eat other snakes. Jack shrugs. Not super common mostly in Southeast Asia, but there are also inland taipans. Those have even more toxic venom, drop for drop. Black mambas in Africa. Super fast. Super aggressive. Rattlesnakes all over the Americas. Death adders in Australia, because of course Australia has those. My eye ridges are not twitching anymore. They have progressed to full involuntary spasms. Your planet, I hear myself say, has multiple species of serpents larger and more venomous than a Theta-class specimen. I would not say more venomous. Jack corrects, like this is somehow better. Your nightmare snake there sounds way more efficient. I am just saying the size thing is not that wild, and we have got a lot of them. Like a lot of them. Brix turns to stare at me, his mandibles clicking in what might be a question or might be an accusation. Lyra and Gorn have stopped moving entirely, their gelatinous bodies frozen in place, and Jack Torres, that insufferable human with his gum and his casual tone and his ridiculous claims, just sits there looking at my Theta-class specimen like it is mildly noteworthy rather than the apex of evolutionary lethality. I am beginning to suspect a horrible, terrible, utterly unacceptable possibility. What if he is not lying? What if Earth is actually that dangerous? No, that is impossible. Humans are fragile. They are weak. They are new to the galactic stage. There is no way their homeworld is more deadly than established nightmare planets. Absolutely no way. Right? I should move on. I should proceed to the next part of the curriculum. I should maintain control of my classroom and my dignity. But against every instinct of self-preservation I possess, I hear myself ask, what else? Jack's face lights up like I have just given him permission to talk about his favorite subject, which apparently I have. Oh man, where do I even start? He sits up straighter and the gum finally stops moving. Okay. Box jellyfish, transparent, so you cannot see them in the water, tentacles covered in millions of nematocysts, tiny harpoon cells that inject venom. 1 sting, and you are in agony, like being whipped with red-hot chains. Bad enough stings cause cardiac arrest in minutes. They are in the waters off Australia, Philippines, Southeast Asia, people still go swimming there. We just wear wetsuits and pay attention. Lyra makes a sound like liquid gurgling through a drain. You have invisible aquatic predators. I mean, they are not really predators of humans. We are too big. They eat small fish. We just get in the way. Jack waves this off like it is a minor detail. Then there are cone snails. Tiny, beautiful shells, really pretty patterns. Tourists pick them up all the time. Bad idea. They have a harpoon-like tooth that delivers chenotoxin, causes paralysis, respiratory failure. No antivenom for most species. You just have to hope the dose was not lethal and wait it out. Brix's mandibles are clicking rapidly now, a sign of extreme agitation in chitrons. These are aquatic organisms. Yeah, mostly tropical waters. Oh, but speaking of water, Jack continues, apparently incapable of reading the room. Stonefish. Ugliest things you have ever seen. They look exactly like rocks on the ocean floor. You step on one, spines inject venom that causes immediate excruciating pain. Like people describe it as the worst pain they have ever experienced. Causes tissue necrosis, can stop your heart. They are in shallow waters where people walk. You just have to shuffle your feet and wear water shoes. One of the Zetherian cadets is frantically typing on her datapad. I catch a glimpse of her screen. She is not taking notes on my lecture. She is updating her personal travel restrictions. Never visit Earth. Never visit Earth. Oceans. Never visit Australia. Oh, and poison dart frogs. Jack is warming up now, gesturing enthusiastically. Tiny, like 3 centimeters long, bright colors. Blues, reds, yellows. Absolutely gorgeous. Their skin secretes batrachocin, one of the most toxic substances on Earth. Indigenous people used to coat their blow darts with it for hunting. One frog has enough toxin to kill 10 adult humans, or several elephants. We keep them in zoos. Kids press their faces against the glass to look at the pretty colors. I feel something inside me break. You put them in public viewing areas where children can see them. Well, yeah, they are educational. And cool looking. Do not worry. They are behind glass. Jack grins. In the wild they are only in Central and South America. Rainforests mostly. Gorn, the quieter of the two Quarons, finally speaks up. His voice is shaky. How do your people survive on this planet? Oh, we are fine. You just learn what to avoid. Do not touch brightly colored frogs. Watch where you step in the ocean. Check your shoes for spiders. Common sense. Jack shrugs. Besides, most of this stuff does not want to hurt you. They are just defending themselves. Defending themselves? Brix's voice rises to a pitch I did not know chitrons could produce. Your planet requires constant vigilance against dozens of lethal species, and you call that common sense? I mean, yeah? Jack looks genuinely confused by the reaction. What, your planets do not have dangerous animals? Our planets have dangerous animals in specific regions that are clearly marked and avoided. I hear the hysteria creeping into my own voice and cannot stop it. We do not casually coexist with them in recreational areas. Huh? Jack considers this. That actually sounds kind of boring. Oh wait, I forgot about the blue-ringed octopus. A collective groan rises from the classroom. Super small, like 20 centimeters. Really pretty. Gold rings turn bright blue when it is threatened. Cute, right? Wrong. Carries enough tetrotoxin to kill 26 humans. Causes total paralysis, respiratory failure. You stay conscious the whole time, completely aware, just cannot move or breathe. No antivenom. You need mechanical ventilation until the toxin wears off, if you are lucky enough to get to a hospital in time. And people encounter these. One of the Gravians asks, his rocky face somehow conveying horror. If you are in tide pools in the Pacific. Yeah, you just do not pick them up. Look but do not touch. Jack spreads his hands like this is the simplest concept in the galaxy. My confidence, carefully built over 20 cycles of teaching, is crumbling like a sand castle at high tide. I am supposed to be the expert. I am supposed to be showing these cadets the galaxy's dangers. And this human, this fragile-looking human from a species I dismissed as soft and unprepared, is casually describing a homeworld that makes Obsidian Deep look like a vacation resort. Cadet Torres, I say weakly. Surely, these are isolated species. Rare encounters. Oh no, super common. Well, depends on where you are. Different regions have different stuff. But everywhere has something. Jack ticks them off on his fingers. North America has rattlesnakes, black widows, brown recluses, grizzly bears, polar bears, mountain lions, alligators, crocodiles. South America adds jaguars, anacondas, bullet ants. Those hurt like you got shot. Hence the name. Africa has lions. Hippos. Hippos kill more people than any large animal on the continent. Crocodiles, black mambas, puff adders. Europe is actually pretty tame, mostly vipers. Asia has tigers, king cobras, saltwater crocodiles. Those are the biggest sun bears. Australia has everything trying to kill you. It is kind of their thing. He pauses, thinks. Oh, and mosquitoes. Mosquitoes, I ask, afraid of the answer. Yeah, mosquitoes. Little flying insects, they bite you to drink blood. Super annoying. But they also carry diseases. Malaria, dengue fever, yellow fever, Zika, West Nile virus. They kill more humans every year than any other animal on Earth. Like 700,000 people annually. Maybe more. Silence. Complete, total silence. Bricks turns to look at Jack with an expression I cannot read. Wait, you let those live on your planet? The ones that kill 700,000 of you every year? I mean, we are working on it. Eradication programs, mosquito nets, vaccines for some of the diseases. But they are everywhere. Every continent except Antarctica. Super adaptable. Hard to get rid of. Jack shrugs again, that universal gesture that seems to mean everything and nothing. They are annoying, but you get used to it. Bug spray helps. You get used to it. Bricks repeats flatly. You get used to it. Lara echoes, her gelatinous body quivering. Bug spray, Gorn whispers, like he has just heard the punchline to a joke he does not understand. I look at my Theta-class specimen, coiled behind triple-layer containment glass. The most lethal organism in my collection. My trump card, my ultimate teaching tool. It suddenly seems a lot less impressive. And Jack Torres, that insufferable human, just sits there chewing his gum, completely oblivious to the fact that he has just shattered my entire worldview. So, what is next? He asks cheerfully. Got any more cool specimens to show us? I do not know whether to laugh or cry. I settle for moving on to the next demonstration before I have a complete existential crisis in front of my students. I do not sleep well that night. I keep dreaming about invisible jellyfish and tiny octopi with enough toxin to kill entire platoons and insects that casually murder 700,000 humans annually, while the humans just shrug and apply bug spray. When I finally drag myself to the laboratory the next morning, I am running on stimulants and spite. Today is practical examination day. Theory is one thing. Anyone can memorize facts and regurgitate them on a datapad. But can you actually function in the presence of danger? Can you identify threats while your hindbrain is screaming at you to run? Can you maintain protocol when every survival instinct you possess is firing at maximum intensity? This is where cadets fail. This is where overconfidence dies. This is where I will finally see Jack Torres take something seriously. The examination setup is elegant in its simplicity. Environmental suits for every cadet, full hazmat protocol, individual testing chambers with live specimens in controlled habitats. Each student enters alone, identifies the organisms present, catalogs their threat levels, and demonstrates proper containment procedures. Standard stuff. I have run this exam 200 times. But I have prepared something special for today. The cadets file in, already nervous. Environmental suits make everything more real. The weight of the gear, the restricted vision through the helmet, the sound of your own breathing amplified in the enclosed space. It reminds you that you are vulnerable, that only a few layers of synthetic material stand between you and things that very much want you dead. Bricks goes first. I send him into a chamber with a juvenile Vorten acid beetle. He does well, identifying it correctly, maintaining safe distance, demonstrating proper capture protocol with the remote manipulators. His hands shake slightly, but he completes the task. Passing grade. Lyra tackles a habitat with bioluminescent fungi that release paralytic gases. She is cautious, methodical, triple checks her suit seals before entering. Smart. Also passing. 3 more cadets. 3 more controlled environments. 3 more successful demonstrations of proper xenobiological safety procedures. And then Jack Torres steps forward. Of course he volunteers to go next. Of course he does. He has been sitting there watching the others, that same casual expression on his face, like this is mildly entertaining rather than a serious examination that determines whether he is qualified for field assignments. Cadet Torres, I say, and I cannot keep the anticipation out of my voice. Your turn. I have prepared something special. Chamber 7. We call it the Spore Chamber, though never in front of students because that would be giving away the primary threat. It is a habitat containing samples from the fungal forests of Mycos Prime, an environment so hostile that the colonization effort was abandoned after losing 60% of the initial survey team in the first week. The air in Chamber 7 is thick with floating spores, each one carrying a payload of respiratory toxins. Breathe them in, and your lungs start shutting down within minutes. The spores also contain mild hallucinogens, just enough to impair judgment and make you doubt your training. And scattered throughout the habitat are 3 different species of organisms, each one dangerous in its own right, each one camouflaged to blend perfectly with the fungal landscape. It is the most difficult practical exam in my entire curriculum. In 20 cycles, only 14 cadets have achieved a perfect score. Most barely pass. Some refuse to enter at all, and I do not blame them. Jack Torres walks toward the chamber entrance like he is heading to the cafeteria. Full hazmat protocol. Cadet, I remind him. Triple check your seals. The respiratory filters must be functioning at 100% efficiency. One malfunction, one crack in your suit integrity, and the medical team will be extracting you within 90 seconds. Do you understand? Got it, boss. He gives me a thumbs up, which I have learned is a human gesture of acknowledgement, and begins the suit check procedure. To his credit, he is thorough. He checks every seal, tests the air filtration system, verifies the heads-up display. Whatever else I might say about Jack Torres, he does not appear to have a death wish. The medical team stands ready. Emergency extraction equipment primed. I have my hand on the emergency containment override. Standard precautions. The chamber door cycles open. Spores immediately swirl toward the opening, held back only by the air pressure differential. Through the observation window, the habitat looks like something from a nightmare. All twisted fungal growths and drifting particulate matter that catches the light like toxic snow. Jack steps inside. The door seals behind him with a heavy clunk that echoes through the laboratory. Talus, every cadet crowds around the observation windows. Brex has activated his visor's recording function again. The Gravians lean in, their massive forms blocking the view until I wave them back irritably. I watch the biometric readouts on my display. Heart rate, respiratory rate, stress hormones, neural activity. This is how you really evaluate a cadet's performance. Not just by whether they complete the task, but by how their body responds to the threat. Jack takes 3 steps into the chamber, spores swirling around him like a fog. His helmet filters engage with a soft whir. The air quality sensors on his suit immediately flash warnings detecting the toxin concentration. Lethal. Highly lethal. Do not breathe. Do not compromise suit integrity. He stops, looks around, turns in a slow circle surveying the habitat, and then he sniffs. I can hear it through the comm system. A long, deliberate sniff like he is testing the air in his suit's microenvironment. Huh. His voice crackles over the speaker. Smells like pollen season in Texas. My eye ridges resume their twitching. Cadet Torres, I say into the comm, keeping my voice level, please begin identification procedures. Yeah, on it. He is already moving, walking through the chamber with a confidence that borders on reckless. Okay, so. Primary threat is obviously the spores. Looks like basidiomycoted analogs probably producing some kind of respiratory toxin based on the warnings my suit is screaming at me. Secondary threats. Let me see. He crouches down next to a cluster of orange fungal growths. Does not touch them. Sensibly. But leans in close. Too close in my opinion. This guy here is releasing contact irritants. See the vesicle structures. Probably causes chemical burns. Similar to giant hogweed back home but more aggressive dispersal pattern. He is correct. That is exactly what that organism does. He identified it in 15 seconds. Jack moves to a twisted mass of mycelium that most cadets mistake for part of the habitat structure. And this is actually an organism, not just substrate. See the rhythmic pulsing. Metabolic activity. Probably carnivorous. Waits for small organisms to get trapped in the adhesive coating, then digests them externally. like a sundew or Venus flytrap, but fungal. Also correct. I am watching my display. His heart rate is elevated, but barely. 78 beats per minute. Brix was at 115 in a much easier chamber. The stress hormone readings are practically baseline. Third threat. Jack continues, poking carefully at what looks like a rock with a gloved finger. Camouflaged arthropod analog. Probably venomous based on the defensive posture and the glands near the mandibles. Not super aggressive though, just wants to be left alone. 3 for 3. Perfect identification, and he has been in the chamber for less than 2 minutes. I look at the other biometric readings. Respiratory rate, normal. Neural activity, focused, but not panicked. He is treating this like a mildly interesting field trip. Cadet Torres, I say slowly. Are you experiencing any disorientation? Impaired judgment? Visual disturbances? Nah, I am good. Why? He is examining a bioluminescent growth now, tilting his head to get a better angle. The spores contain mild hallucinogenic compounds. Most cadets report some level of cognitive impairment. Oh, he pauses. I mean, everything looks a little sparkly, but I figured that was just the lighting. Is it supposed to be worse than that? I do not answer. I am too busy staring at the biometric data, trying to understand what I am seeing. His body is processing the ambient hallucinogens like they are an afterthought. Like his neurochemistry just shrugged and moved on. Behind me, I hear a soft thump. I turn to see Gorn, one of the Corbound students, collapsed against the observation window. He has passed out from watching. He is not even in the chamber, and the stress of observing has overwhelmed him. The medical team rushes over with stimulants while Jack Torres completes a flawless practical examination in the most hostile environment I can legally expose cadets to. His heart rate barely elevated, commenting on how the spores smell like seasonal allergies. I think I got everything. Jack's voice comes through the command. Want me to demonstrate containment procedures, or should I come out? I stare at the unconscious Corin being revived by the medical team. I stare at Brix, whose mandibles have not stopped clicking in agitation. I stare at my display showing Jack Torres's vitals, which look like someone taking a casual stroll through a park. Come out, cadet, I say quietly. The chamber door cycles open. Jack steps through, spores clinging to his suit that are immediately neutralized by the decontamination field. He removes his helmet, and that infernal gum is back, like he never stopped chewing it. That was pretty cool, he says cheerfully. Can I go again? I saw some other chambers that looked interesting. Boric stares at him. Lyra stares at him. The conscious Gravians stare at him. Even Gorn, being helped to his feet by the medical team, stares at him with something approaching existential dread, and I realize with creeping certainty that everything I thought I knew about baseline threat assessment is fundamentally wrong. Earth did not produce fragile, unprepared humans. Earth produced something much, much worse. It produced humans who think deadly environments are pretty cool and want to go again. After the spore chamber incident, I need a break. I need several breaks. I need to reconsider my career choices and possibly my entire understanding of biology. But the curriculum waits for no one, and we still have one final component of today's practical examination: live exposure. This is standard protocol across all Galactic Defense installations. You cannot truly understand a toxin until you have experienced it, in controlled conditions, in diluted form. It builds physiological familiarity. It trains your body's immune response. It teaches you on a visceral level what these threats actually feel like so you can recognize the symptoms in the field. It is also, I will admit, a rather effective way to instill lasting respect for xenobiological hazards. The exposure chamber is clinical, sterile. Nothing like the elaborate habitats we use for observations. Just a simple medical bay with monitoring equipment and a very well-stocked emergency response station. Every cadet must undergo this. Every single one. No exceptions. I have selected XLR wasp venom for today's exposure. It is a good teaching toxin. Painful, yes, but not dangerous in controlled doses. The XLR wasp is a common species found on 17 different worlds. So the practical knowledge is genuinely useful, and the venom, when properly diluted, produces intense localized pain and swelling that resolves within a few hours with standard anti-inflammatory treatment. We dilute it 1,000 to 1, 1,000 times weaker than the actual sting, and it still hurts like you have been stabbed with a hot needle. The cadets line up, nervous but resigned. This is the price of admission. You want to work with dangerous organisms. You need to know what dangerous feels like. Brix goes first, because of course he does. The Chitron's natural armor makes the injection site difficult to access, but we manage. I administer 0.5 milliliters of the diluted venom into his shoulder joint, one of the few flexible areas in his exoskeleton. He takes it stoically, though his mandibles clench tight. Within 30 seconds he is breathing hard, his whole body rigid with discomfort. Stings he manages through gritted mandibles. Considerable pain, manageable but unpleasant. Perfect. Exactly the response I expect. The medical team monitors him carefully as the localized swelling begins. He will be uncomfortable for the next 3 hours, but he will be fine, and he will never forget what Xylar wasp venom feels like. Lyra is next. The injection is easier with her gelatinous body, though watching the venom disperse through her translucent form is slightly unsettling. She makes that gurgling distress sound immediately, her bioluminescence flickering erratically. The pain response is clearly significant. We administer a mild analgesic after 60 seconds per protocol. One by one, the cadets receive their exposure. One by one, they experience controlled educational suffering. It is not cruelty. It is preparation. It is necessary. And then Jack Torres steps up to the injection station. All right, cadet. I say, prepping the injector with a fresh dose. This is Xylar wasp venom diluted 1000 to 1. You will experience significant localized pain and swelling. The discomfort will peak within 2 minutes and gradually subside over the next 3 to 4 hours. The medical team will be monitoring you throughout. Do you understand? Yep, got it. Wasp venom gonna hurt. You will patch me up after. All good. He rolls up his sleeve, exposing his forearm. I notice, not for the first time, how utterly unprotected human skin is. No scales, no armor plating, no dermal defenses whatsoever. Just thin, vulnerable tissue covering muscle and bone. I almost feel bad about what I am about to do. Almost. Medical team ready? I call out. Ready, sir, comes the response. They have seen the previous cadets' reactions. They know what to expect. I press the injector against Jack's forearm and trigger the release. 0.5 milliliters of diluted Xylar wasp venom enters his bloodstream. I withdraw the injector and step back, watching for the reaction. Jack looks down at his arm, looks at the small injection site, rotates his wrist slightly, flexing his fingers. Oh yeah, that tingles a bit, he says, like he has just noticed a mild itch. I wait. The other cadets wait. The medical team waits. Brix is still dealing with his own exposure, but even he has turned to watch. 5 seconds pass. 10 seconds. 15. Jack is still just standing there, examining his arm with mild curiosity. Is something supposed to happen? Like more than this? I check my scanner. The venom is definitely in his system. I can see it dispersing through his tissue, the molecular markers lighting up on the bioanalysis display. It is there. It is active. It should be causing significant pain right now. The venom is in your system, I say, hearing the edge of hysteria creeping back into my voice. You should be experiencing intense localized pain. The dilution ratio is standard. The dose is correct. You should be feeling this. Jack shrugs with the injected arm, which should be extremely painful given the inflammation that should be occurring. I mean, it kind of burns a little, like when you get hand sanitizer in a paper cut. Is that it? That is not it. I realize I am shouting and force myself to calm down. Professional. I am a professional. Cadet Torres. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the worst pain you have ever experienced, what would you rate your current discomfort? Who thinks about it, really considers the question. Maybe a 2, 2.5. It is like there, but it is not really bothering me. Back home we call that a bee sting. He looks around at the medical team. Got any Benadryl? Or antihistamines? Whatever you guys use, not that I need it, but my arm might get a little puffy later. I am staring at my scanner, recalibrating it, running diagnostics. The equipment is functioning perfectly. The venom is definitely in his system. It is just not doing anything. Or rather, it is doing exactly what it should be doing. But Jack Torres's body has apparently decided that localized tissue damage and inflammatory response are merely worth mentioning in passing rather than actually worrying about. How, I ask weakly. How is this a normal response for your species? Oh, I mean, bee stings hurt more when you are a kid. You kind of get used to them. I have probably been stung, I do not know, 30 or 40 times in my life, maybe more. You stop really noticing after a while. He examines his arm again. Yeah, there is a little red spot. Cool, we done. Bricks, still recovering from his own exposure, and clearly in significant discomfort, stares at Jack with something approaching hatred. You have been stung 30 or 40 times. Probably more. Honestly, I am not great at keeping track. Wasps, bees, hornets, fire ants, that one time with the jellyfish, but that was different. That actually hurt. The jellyfish hurt, Lyra repeats faintly. Yeah, that was like a 6 out of 10. Had some gnarly welts for a week. This is like a 2 maybe. Jack rolls his sleeve back down. So are we doing anything else today, or is that it for practicals? I look at my carefully prepared curriculum, my decades of experience, my advanced degrees in xenobiology, my position as senior instructor at one of the most prestigious academies in the galaxy, and I realize that none of it prepared me for humans. None of it. That is it for today, I hear myself say. Class dismissed. The cadets file out, some still dealing with their own exposure symptoms, all of them casting nervous glances at Jack Torres, who is cheerfully chewing his gum and checking his datapad for messages like he has not just invalidated my entire understanding of pain tolerance and toxin response. I sink into my chair, staring at the medical readouts, trying to understand what I have just witnessed. Somewhere on Earth, right now, there are billions of humans just living their lives on a planet that apparently trains them from birth to casually ignore things that would hospitalize most galactic species. When we let them join the Galactic Council, we let them serve in mixed species units. We gave them access to our technology and our knowledge base. What have we done? What in the name of all that is logical and sane have we done? The medical team descends on Jack Torres like he is a xenobiological specimen himself, which I am beginning to realize he essentially is. Sir, you need to see this. The head medic, a Hytharen named Vess, calls me over to the scanning station. Her 4 eyes are blinking in rapid succession, a sign of confusion in her species. I drag myself out of my chair and approach the display. The real-time bioscan of Jack's arm shows the venom dispersal pattern, and wait, that is not right. Is the scanner malfunctioning? I ask, though I already know the answer. No, sir. I have run 3 separate diagnostics. The equipment is functioning perfectly. Vess points to the highlighted areas on the scan. The venom is being neutralized. Actively, his immune system is attacking it like a common pathogen. I have never seen a response this aggressive to a toxin. His white blood cell count has barely elevated. His histamine response is minimal. It is like his body encountered the venom, assessed it as a minor irritant, and just handled it. Another medic leans in. His metabolic rate increased by 0.3%. 0.3. For comparison, the Chitron's metabolic rate spiked by 18%. I stare at the scan. At Jack's arm, which should be swollen and inflamed and instead just has a small red mark like someone poked him with a stylus. At Jack himself, who is now chatting with Bricks about something called hot sauce challenges that sounds deeply concerning. The laboratory door bursts open. 3 more instructors rush in, followed by 2 administrators I recognize from the academy command structure. Word has apparently spread. Telvin. What is this I hear about a human cadet walking through the Spore chamber with minimal stress response? Commander Zix demands. She is a Dravix, built like a tank with scales, not someone who gets easily rattled. She looks rattled. And something about Bella Wasp Venom. Instructor Thel adds. He teaches advanced toxicology. He looks personally offended. The reports say he compared it to a minor insect sting. Because it is a minor insect sting to him, I say, and I hear the slight hysteria in my voice again. I am too tired to care. To them, to humans, they have insects on their planet that do the same thing. Hundreds of species of them, and they just live with it. Commander Zix blinks all 3 of her eyes in sequence. I am sorry, hundreds. Thousands, probably. Jack calls out helpfully from across the room. Apparently he has been listening. If you count all the venomous insects globally, ants, wasps, bees, hornets, centipedes, some caterpillars, certain beetles, pretty much every continent has something that stings or bites. The assembled instructors and administrators turn to stare at him. And you just coexist with these creatures. Val asks carefully. Yeah, they are part of the ecosystem. We need pollinators. Bees are super important for agriculture. Wasps eat pest insects. They are beneficial mostly. They only sting if you threaten them or their nests. You just learn to be careful. Jack pauses. Well, except hornets. Hornets are jerks. But still, you just avoid them. Your planet requires you to avoid hundreds of venomous species as part of your daily routine. Commander Zix's voice is rising. I would not say daily. I mean, if you live in a city, you do not see them as much. More of a suburban and rural thing. Though we did have a wasp nest in our apartment building once. Maintenance took care of it. Jack shrugs. Is the cafeteria open? I am starving. Dead silence. He wants food, Vess whispers. He just underwent venom exposure. And he wants food. The human digestive system is probably overqualified too. I mutter. And I am only half joking. Instructor Thel is typing rapidly on his datapad. I am submitting a request to reclassify Earth's planetary threat assessment. This is not normal. Humans should not be this resilient. Their physiology does not make sense. Actually, it makes perfect sense. I say quietly, and everyone turns to look at me. They evolved on a death world. They had to develop these resistances, these tolerances, or they would have gone extinct. Earth did not just produce life. It produced survivors. The pieces are falling into place now, horrible, terrifying pieces. Their planet trained them. Every generation, the ones who could not handle the toxins, the venom, the parasites, the predators, they died out. What we are looking at is not an abnormality. This is the baseline human condition. They are all like this. All of them. Commander Zix asks weakly. Probably, Jack confirms. I mean, some people have worse reactions to stings and stuff. Allergies, you know. But yeah, most people can handle a bee sting without freaking out. It is just part of growing up. Brix, who has finally recovered enough to stand properly, approaches the group. Instructor Kelvin, with all due respect, I would like to formally request that any future assignments partnering me with human personnel include comprehensive briefings on Earth biology, because I need to understand what I am working with. Seconded, says Lyra, still looking shaky. Thirded, adds one of the Gravians. I look around at the assembled faculty and students, at the medical team still analyzing Jack's impossibly efficient immune response, at the administrators already composing threat reassessment reports. And then I look at Jack Torres, who is checking his arm one more time, poking at the injection site with casual curiosity. Cadet Torres, I say. You asked about the cafeteria. It is on level 3, section B. The human-compatible food station is clearly marked. Awesome, thanks. He starts heading for the door, then pauses. Oh hey, this was really educational. Thanks for the class. Super interesting stuff. See you tomorrow. He leaves, just walks out. Like this is a completely normal day. Like he has not just caused an institutional crisis and multiple existential breakdowns. The door closes behind him. Your planet trains you to survive. I say to the empty air where Jack was standing. Your planet actively, aggressively trains you to survive. I mean, Australia exists, so yeah. Vess quotes in a perfect imitation of Jack's casual tone. Then she looks at her datapad. I looked up Australia. It is a single continent on Earth. The documented wildlife includes venomous spiders, venomous snakes, venomous jellyfish, venomous octopi, venomous fish, venomous mammals, yes, mammals, aggressive reptiles, and something called a cassowary, which is apparently a bird that can disembowel you. And humans just live there, Lulel says flatly. Millions of them, Vess confirms. Commander Zix sits down heavily in the nearest chair. I am putting Earth on the restricted travel list, high-risk planetary environment. Natives are cleared for service, but any non-human personnel requesting transfer to Earth will require advanced survival training and comprehensive medical preparation. That seems wise. I agree. We all sit there for a moment processing. You wanted to know where the cafeteria was, Vess says again like she still cannot believe it. Neither can I. Neither can any of us. 3 weeks have passed since what I now refer to as the Torres incident. 3 weeks and I am still adjusting my curriculum, still fielding questions from other instructors, still waking up in the middle of the night wondering how humanity survived long enough to develop space travel. I am standing in front of a new class now, fresh cadets, 47 of them this cycle, representing 19 species. They look eager, confident, ready to learn about the galaxy's dangers. They have no idea what is coming. Welcome to Advanced Xenobiology. I begin, and I have added a new section to my opening lecture. A very important new section. Before we discuss the specimens in this laboratory, we need to address a critical topic that was regrettably not given sufficient emphasis in previous cycles. I activate the holographic display. The title appears in large urgent letters, Earth Organisms, handle with extreme caution. A few cadets shift nervously. Good. Fear is healthy. Earth, I continue, is a Class 12 death world. For those unfamiliar with the classification system, that is the second highest danger rating in the galactic database. Only 6 known planets have higher ratings, and 3 of those are completely uninhabitable. I pull up an image of Earth from space. It looks deceptively peaceful. Blue oceans, white clouds, green continents. Lovely, deadly. Earth's native life forms have evolved in an environment of continuous aggressive competition. The result is a biosphere filled with organisms possessing venom, toxins, parasites, diseases, and predatory capabilities that rival or exceed anything we have catalogued elsewhere in known space. I start the image sequence. First up, a box jellyfish, its tentacles flowing gracefully through the water. Several cadets lean forward, appreciating the beauty. This organism's sting can cause cardiac arrest in minutes. It is nearly invisible in the water. Humans swim in oceans where these exist. Gasps. Exactly the response I want. Next image. A tiny colorful frog. Poison dart frog. Skin secretions can kill 10 adult humans. Humans keep them in educational facilities where children observe them. More gasps. Someone in the back row makes a sound like choking. Cone snail. Venomous harpoon tooth. No anti-venom. Humans collect shells from beaches where these live. King cobra. 5.5 meters long. Venom can kill an elephant. Multiple species like this exist on Earth. Sydney funnel web spider. Aggressive, venomous, specifically targets primates. Lives in suburban areas. Mosquito. Kills 700,000 humans annually. Humans consider them an annoyance. By the time I finish the presentation, 3 cadets have requested bathroom breaks, which I suspect are actually existential crisis breaks, and 2 have already updated their personal travel restriction lists. I can see it on their data pads. The key takeaway, I say, pulling the images down, is that humans are not weak despite their lack of natural armor or weapons. They are strong because they survived Earth. Their immune systems, pain tolerance, and threat assessment capabilities are calibrated to a baseline that most of us cannot comprehend. When working with human colleagues, remember this: what they consider minor may be catastrophic to you. What you consider terrifying may be to them a barbecue inconvenience. A chitron in the front row raises a claw. Instructor, are humans currently serving in the academy? Yes, several. I pause. One is in this class actually. 47 heads swivel, looking around nervously, trying to identify the potential death worlder among them. The door opens. Jack Torres walks in, slightly late, carrying a container with air holes punched in the lid. He waves cheerfully. Sorry, Professor Kelvin. Had to stop by my quarters. Brought my pet for show and tell. Figured it would be educational. Every single cadet freezes. Your pet? I ask carefully. Yeah, just a little garden snake I found near the training grounds. Totally harmless. Non-venomous. I have been feeding it mice from the commissary. Wanna see? He is already opening the container. The evacuation is immediate and impressive. 46 cadets stampede toward the exits in a coordinated panic that would make emergency evacuation drills look sloppy. Chairs overturn. Data pads clatter to the floor. A Gravian, moves faster than I have ever seen his species move. His rocky body surprisingly aerodynamic when properly motivated. Within 15 seconds, the laboratory is empty except for me, Jack, and the small confused snake now draped across Jack's arm. It is maybe half a meter long, brown with darker patches, tongue flicking out occasionally to taste the air. Objectively, it is rather cute. Subjectively, after 3 weeks of Earth research, I know that even harmless Earth creatures exist on a danger spectrum that would give most species nightmares. Jack looks around at the empty classroom, shrugs, sits down at a desk in the front row, snake still casually wrapped around his forearm, and pulls out his lunch. some kind of sandwich. He takes a bite, chewing contentedly. Is class cancelled or? He asks between bites. I stare at him, at the snake, at the overturned chairs and abandoned datapads, at the door where I can still hear the echoes of panicked footsteps receding down the corridor. And I start laughing. I cannot help it. Deep, genuine laughter that I have not experienced in cycles, because the absurdity of it all, the beautiful, terrible absurdity, has finally hit me with full force. Cadet Torres, I say when I can breathe again. You have just evacuated an entire classroom with a harmless garden snake. I did say it was harmless. He points out reasonably. Not my fault they freaked out. No, it is not his fault. It is Earth's fault. Earth, that magnificent, horrifying planet that looked at the concept of survival of the fittest and said, hold my beverage, watch this. Class is not cancelled. I tell him, but it appears you are my only student today. Cool. So you want to hold him? Jack offers the snake toward me. I look at the small reptile. It looks back at me with dark, unblinking eyes. By all objective measurements, it is not dangerous. Jack is correct. It is harmless. But I have learned something important over these past 3 weeks. Something that will change how I teach, how I assess threats, how I view the galaxy itself. Humans are not the strongest species. They are not the fastest, not the most heavily armored, not the most naturally gifted in any single physical category. But they are, without question, the craziest. They evolved on a planet that tried to kill them in 1,000 different ways, and instead of going extinct or fleeing to safer worlds, they adapted. They survived. They thrived. They built civilizations in the middle of Death World Prime, and called it home. And then they had the audacity to look at the rest of the galaxy and think, yeah, we can handle this. The terrifying part. They are probably right. I will pass on holding the snake. I tell Jack, but thank you for the offer. He shrugs, pets the snake gently and returns to his sandwich. The snake curls up on the desk beside him, apparently content. I pull up the next section of my lecture, adjusting it on the fly for an audience of 1. Outside I can hear Commander Zix's voice over the facility intercom, calmly explaining that there is no emergency, the snake is non-venomous, and everyone can return to their classes. No one returns. Jack and I spend the next 2 hours going through advanced toxicology, just the two of us, while his pet snake occasionally investigates the specimens in their containment chambers, completely oblivious to the fact that any one of them could kill it in seconds. Much like Jack himself. By the time the session ends, I have a new appreciation for humanity's place in the galactic community. They are not just another member species. They are a reminder that survival is not about having the best natural defenses or the most potent venom. Sometimes, survival is about being too stubborn, too adaptable, and too casually insane to know when you should be afraid. Humans are not the apex predators of the galaxy, but they might be the only species crazy enough to act like they are, and somehow make it work. As Jack packs up his snake and heads out, humming something he calls classic rock, I sit down at my desk and update my personal files. Note to self. Request humanity's full planetary biology database, all of it. Every species, every toxin, every ridiculous danger their planet has invented. If I am going to teach humans, I need to understand what baseline normal means to them, because clearly my baseline and their baseline exist in completely different universes. And maybe, just maybe, the galaxy is better for having them in it. Terrifying as they are, baffling as they are, impossible as they are, they keep things interesting. Also, note to self, invest in stronger sedatives. I have a feeling I am going to need them. Class dismissed.